All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We are talking about the Chicago Bears. We're live here in Mexico, but I need to talk about the Chicago Bears team. 5-12 record in the 2024 NFL season, but Ben Johnson, official, fresh, sexy hire. That sounds weird, but you know what I'm saying. Ben Johnson was the coach of the cycle, and so the Chicago Bears pretty much have already been huge winners just because of the fact that Ben Johnson is now the official head coach of the Chicago Bears. But I want to talk about things moving forward because this is a team that has so much potential. Obviously, Caleb Williams, last year's #1 overall draft pick, 20 touchdowns, only 6 interceptions, so much dysfunctionality with Shane Waldron, their offensive coordinator, their head coach, and Matt Eberflus. It just wasn't cutting it. And so one thing, as a Chicagoland native, somebody who was born and raised in the Chicagoland area, this is so different. And every single Bears fan will tell you the same exact thing. This feels so unbelievably different. It's really not even funny. We're seeing like coherent management. We're seeing coherent staff hires. And what you're about to see is a phenomenal free agency and draft that complements this franchise. So, folks, welcome back to the channel. Obviously, we're talking about the Chicago Bears offseason, loose offseason. But before we do, hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. Try and get this video to 100 likes, folks. That would mean the absolute world to me. I can sum up what Chicago's going to do this offseason, whether it's the draft or free agency, with 3 words. Build the wall. Build the wall. The Bears have one of the better right tackle, left tackle duos in the entire National Football League. But most of their issues came in the interior offensive line. Now, the good news is they have $69.3 million in projected cap space. This is according to Spotrac, so keep in mind, if you're looking at a different site like Over the Cap, maybe it's a little bit different, but they're going to have around $69 million in free agency. It gets even better. The Bears have the 10th overall pick, right? 5-12 record. They got the 10th overall pick. But they also have 3 selections in the top 45. Thank you, Bryce Young trade. And 4 selections in the top 72 of the 2025 NFL draft. I don't know if you guys remember last year. Obviously, the Bears had the 1st pick and the 9th pick, and they went with Caleb and Rome Odunze. But outside of that, they only had 2 other draft picks. They've got 4 in the top 72. So you're looking to grab 4 starters in the first couple of rounds of this draft. And they're going to immediately upgrade the interior offensive line. Now, the Bears' offense last season gave up a league-high 68 sacks and just could not run the football. They were 25th in total rushing. They only averaged 102 yards per game, or rushing yards per game, I should say. And the offensive line is just the biggest area that you're going to see drastic change with Ben Johnson and this offense. And even just real quick on Ben Johnson, I mean, we'll save that for later because it's just hype. But the fact Ben Johnson's the actual head coach for the Chicago Bears, it kind of feels surreal. So you've been seeing a bunch of stuff about Trey Smith that if for some reason the Kansas City Chiefs do not pay this man, I guarantee you the Chicago Bears not only will pay him, but I feel if the Kansas City Chiefs do not select or sign Trey Smith, I feel very, very confident that the Chicago Bears will. But if not, you got Will Fries in free agency, you got Kevin Zeitler from the Detroit Lions. These are all kind of standout offensive linemen that the Chicago Bears will at least have some interest and look into in free agency. NFL insider Jeremy Fowler with ESPN not only highlighted the possibility of Trey Smith hitting free agency, but he actually also predicted that Trey Smith would sign with the Chicago Bears. And if this happens, the right side of the line, he's a right guard, Trey Smith's right guard, Darnell Wright, great sophomore campaign. They would have one of the better duos at right guard and right tackle in the entire National Football League. So speaking of the run game, there's 2 kind of offensive question marks outside of the offensive line for the Chicago Bears. So Keenan Allen, all right, he's turning 33 in April, and he is set to be a free agent this offseason. Wide receiver depth with or without Keenan Allen will be a top priority for the Chicago Bears team. And then we look at the running back position. Now, they handed a contract 3-year, $24 million deal to DeAndre Swift last season. 253 carries, 959 yards, and 6 touchdowns. Those sound good. He only averaged 3.8 yards per carry. I guess that isn't the worst. It's definitely not a good statistic, but the point just is, Ben Johnson, when he was with the Detroit Lions, they traded DeAndre Swift. They shipped him to Philadelphia. And now Ben Johnson's the head coach for the Chicago Bears. So we're about to learn very quickly, March, I want to say 8th, maybe it's 7th, maybe it's the 6th. Basically, my point is free agency begins in pretty much 1 month. So you're going to learn, we're all going to learn if DeAndre Swift is the future running back for the Chicago Bears team very soon. Caleb Williams, 489 rushing yards. I love Caleb. He probably shouldn't be the second leading rusher on the team. Rashawn Johnson in his sophomore campaign, 55 carries for only 150 yards. Folks, that's a 2.73 yard per carry average. There's question marks at running back, but once again, they've got $69 million in cap space, and they've got 4 picks in the top 72. So the kind of thought process here is I kind of got a strong inclination that they're going to draft a running back in the second round. They got 2 draft picks in the second round. If they don't trade one of them, or even if they do trade one of them, I kind of think they're going to go offensive line at the 10th pick, maybe even trade back of the 10th pick, get a little bit of a package, get a little bit of a haul, and draft the running back at some point in the first 2 or 3 rounds. That's my thought process there. Darius Slayton, also speaking of wide receivers, could be just a good depth guy on the Chicago Bears roster. Their new offensive coordinator's name is Declan Doyle. All right, he's spent his entire NFL career, he's 28 years old, by the way, with Sean Payton, one of the best offensive gurus in the National Football League. In 2019, he was hired as the offensive assistant with the New Orleans Saints. He then became a tight ends coach for the Denver Broncos when Sean Payton went to be head coach for them. Bo Nix last year, only 4 interceptions and no touchdowns in his first couple of games. So it seemed a little bit dicey. But zoom out. 29 passing touchdowns, 12 interceptions, almost 3,800 total passing yards. He had a better passer rating, better QBR than Caleb Williams. I'm not trying to play, this guy versus this guy, but my point just is he was only even sacked 24 times compared to Caleb Williams' 68. The point is, I know Declan is only 28 years old, but Ben Johnson wanted him, and I also think he should be the offensive coordinator for the Chicago Bears. So the point is here, the Bears have a bunch of draft picks, a bunch of coveted draft picks. They've got a ton of money in free agency, and despite their 5-12 record, it kind of just felt like miscoaching. It kind of felt like coaching malpractice. Washington game, for example, the Detroit game on Thanksgiving, for example. This Bears team is going to be completely different this upcoming season as far as a coaching standpoint. I'm just glad this team is finally competent at the coaching position. It's been a very long time. That's it for me. Hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. Let me know your thoughts on the Chicago Bears, and we will see you soon. Peace.